The sanctuary of our teacher, the Ancient One.
The Ancient One? What's his real name? Right. Forget everything I think I know. Sorry. Thank you for... Whoa. Okay, that's a thing. Thank you. Hello. Oh, thank you. And thank you. Thank you, Ancient One, for seeing me.
You're very welcome.
The Ancient One.
Thank you, Master Mordo. Thank you, Master Hamir. Mr. Strange?
Doctor, actually.
Well, no, not anymore, surely. Isn't that why you're here? You've undergone many procedures. 7, right?
Yeah. It's good tea.
Yes.
Did you heal a man named Pangborn, a paralyzed man?
In a way,
You helped him to walk again.
yes.
How did you correct a complete C7, C8 spinal cord injury?
Well, I didn't correct it. He couldn't walk. I convinced him that he could.
You're not suggesting it was psychosomatic.
When you reattach a severed nerve, is it you who heals it back together or the body?
It's the cells.
And the cells are only programmed to put themselves back together in very specific ways.
Right.
What if I told you that your own body could be convinced to put itself back together in all sorts of ways?
You're talking about cellular regeneration. That's leading edge medical tech. Is that why you're working here without a governing medical board? I mean, just how experimental is your treatment?
Quite.
So you figured out a way to reprogram nerve cells to self-heal?
No, Mr. Strange. I know how to reorient the spirit to better heal the body.
The spirit to heal the body.
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.
Want bread?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Thanks.
Do you know the guy who saved us?
Does he seem familiar? Well, he's been here a long time. That's ethereal. Another who surrendered to the fear. And after he'd heard of my fate, he chose exile over confrontation.
I can't.
Don't be so hard to judge others, Gabriel. I haven't been here long enough to earn that right.
I don't intend to either. How can you take it back on us like this? You swore an oath! Am I the bad guy here? You wanna point this fucking thing at me? After all we've done for you people.
Gabriel, stop! Give him back the gun. He's just doing his job.
It's a shame you can't do yours. Am I the only one who still believes in this cause? Am I?
I'm doing the best I can. Well, what else was I supposed to do? I would have been killed.
It's the risk we take. All of us.
I don't have your strength, Gabriel. I thought I did, but I was wrong. I'm doing the absolute best I can here. I'm still trying to help these people.
With the soup kitchen? That is this big compared to what you're supposed to do. Kill the fallen. Bring back the light. Go home. It's not that fucking hard, Thuriel.
Well, if it was so easy, then why are you here? Why have the 6 of us before you failed? I'm doing the best that I can.
Sorry. It's good to see you.
Raphael is here.
Take me to him.
These passages lead under the entire city. We found them when we were setting up the soup kitchen. This is Maggie. She's been looking after Raphael.
How's he been like this?
A few months.
Leave us.
Maggie will be just outside here.
Shame you had to be here. Yeah. What happened to you? Smell. Shut me. And why can't you heal? Nothing left. Can't do it. No. Save your power. Every time you do something, you lose more. You'll die if I don't. You'll need your strength to face them. I had my chance. Then forgive me. What have you done? I saved your life. You never listened to me, did you? By doing that, you've probably just exhausted half your strength, not to mention the fact you've now exposed our presence to the Fallen. My strength will come back. No, it won't. The longer you're down here, the weaker your connection to the Source becomes. Every time you do something like what you just did, you close that hole up even faster. You should have waited. I could have stayed alive long enough for you to fight Samael, and if you'd won, if you'd returned Light back as the governing ruler, then we could have all gone home. Even those who turned their backs. You talk as if I've already lost.
God, Romulus and Remus. Now, Joseph, you see, this is not fit for a gerbil. That, on the other hand, minus an outer leaf or two, is positively Rousseauvian in its beauty and at half the price. Pay the man. What he asks you.
On vous doit combien, mon brave? Combien? Oh, c'est beaucoup trop cher. 10 centimes.
Hello, boys.
Monsieur Larry. Ah, ça, c'est une surprise. Comment allez-vous?
Good God, Darrell. I was under the impression that you'd vanished. You know that Isabel is here in Paris with me. This wretched depression cleaned them out. Oral Gray lost everything.
Gray? Gray, Matron, and Isabel?
And they have 2 children. Gray hasn't worked for 2.5 years. Yeah, but I can see you're busy. Don't let me keep you. I'll give your best to everyone. Come, Joseph. Look, why don't you take a wash and drop by sometime?
Would you tell your mother that Uncle Larry is here?
Thanks, girls. You go out and play, all right? hoping you might stop by.
Well, I had to make sure the children didn't look too much like Gray. Where is he?
He's upstairs. Honey?
Larry. Good to see you.
How you doing?
I was downstairs this morning. Wish you'd caught me then. Got another one of my damn headaches. Sometimes they're so bad, I feel like I'm gonna die. Sometimes I wish I was dead.
Gray, sometimes all of us wish you were dead. What are you doing here?
Well, I thought
This is guy talk. You want to talk about girls? We don't want you around. Bye.
Bye.
So how are you doing?
Not bad for me. You haven't tried aspirin for these headaches, have you?
Yeah.
I've got something that might work. Here. Hold it in your hand. Clasp your fingers tightly around it. Hand out, palm down. No big deal. I'm going to count to 10. And before I get to 10, you're going to drop the coin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
How'd you do that?
I didn't do it. You did it. Here's what you're going to do next. Hold the coin in your hand again. Gently this time. Let your hand rest on your lap. Lie back. Relax. Relax your whole body. Your eyelids are going to get heavy. They're going to close. You're going to sleep for 3 minutes. And when you wake up, your headache will be gone.
Hey, Epic. Welcome. Thank you for finding me and allowing me to be a part of your journey. Andre Hodge, Infinite Potential Healing, Seven of Truth, with you once more. And welcome to this release. It's going to be Infinite Potential Healing Part 8. I was looking through my stuff and just checking when I released the last one about hydration. It was about a year ago next weekend. So it's pretty crazy that it's been a year, and obviously healing is foundational to who I am and stuff like that. So my Infinite Potential Healing series is one of my important ones amongst the many that I do and stuff. And it's quite poetic that I'm here to offer something really new. That I've been processing all the data variables and inputs and pattern recognition of all I've worked out and offered and evolved and matured and discerned and made it to here, right? I don't have too much light. It's quite late in my day, and I've been working really hard the last 3 or 4 days on how to translate what I worked out, and it's going to be a concept called the essence spectrum, right? What it is a way of interpreting all the data, all the influences, all the mechanics and all that into a visual form to offer a chart to have an output for the solutions and the way forward and stuff like that. It's a way to translate all the influences in a very elegant and yeah, I'm pretty stoked that I worked it out, right? Because obviously, you know, if you've been around me for a while, it's just chipping away, like I've got that image about the journey through the spiritual no man's land. And this is a way I feel will help a lot of people really accelerate and translate it and really be tough on yourself, but also see the mechanics of solution yourself and stuff. So for me, it's I've operated with an instinct relative to all this. And say when I deal with people, I've said in the past, I feel we all, you know, can process 10,000 variables, whether we consciously are aware of it or not, but those things bubble up to our intuitive sort of stuff and instincts and gut reactions and things like that, right? And so one of the things I talk about is the volume of data processing, right? And again, our intuitive potential isn't really that far out. It's just the ability to process more data points at any unit of time, right? And it's about having the courage to accept things and be willing to challenge society and all those sort of things, right? And not assume anything and do your own research, and experience is a key to wisdom and experience is superior to beliefs and stuff, right? So I'm probably only just going to touch on this stuff because of the light and stuff, and look to do a more detailed version, maybe my next release and stuff. So my intent to call this part 8 was the vastness of who and what we are and the essence spectrum, right? So I might call it part 8 with that, but I'll look to do a much more vaster, bigger release relative to this. So it's just, for me, I really love like discovery and then offering stuff. And I won't get into my journey too much, but whether you've been around me for a while or this is new to you and I'm new to you and stuff like that, it's been a long gradual process of chipping away, right? So me, I was just like really working this out is like really significant for myself, and then it was an opportunity to reflect on where I came from, what I came through, and who I've dealt with, and what I got past and overcame, and to really go into my parabolic, which is the pure source, and working out invasion variable and the corrupt universal source code, and it's a default mode that we've had through us and we've never known and stuff, and to be able to sort of work on those levels, it's not about me being better or anything. I realize we all have those glass ceilings that somehow we assume that we can't, right? Why don't we just try and see what happens? And like Sorcerer's like, yeah, about freaking time, you know. But so it's just the courage to challenge anything. And me, like, I've been extremely thorough. Like, I talk about thoroughness being my superpower, and it is, you know. It comes from sacrifice, commitment, what you're willing to give up, and dedication and commitment and courage and all those sort of things. And we all know that journey for data and being good and all that sort of stuff ideally has a superior ending to all the variables out there, and a big part of the many like last 5 or so years has been about, holy crap, look at all the influences that are going on that we've never been offered or afforded to know. And so me, it was been chipping away, getting smashed, or working it out with clients and stuff, and the unknown is a big variable. Like, we have to be humble to what we don't know, and the vastness of the unknown versus what we know. And that's where, if you translate that into excitement and enjoy the discovery process and coming to new conclusions, it's very rewarding in that respect. And you might be the individual that discovers something that no one's ever discovered before. And so just all those assumptions and those limits and beliefs and lacks and self-worth and all those sort of things is once you just leave them behind and you have no agenda, no vested interest other than just to use your talents and the skill sets and the variables that are unique to you to be an ally to everyone else to impart all this. So we all move forward and make the most of this peak awareness era of our lives, right? So the topic was the vastness of who and what we are, because who we are, this being now, but what we are is just so massive, and we might be the wild cards of the multiverse to resolve all this shit, you know? And I feel like we've been smashed and falling back, and we just found Earth and drawn a line in the sand and no freaking more. And the clip of Ram Dass, like, reduce yourself to zero, your power becomes infinite, right? So we're just being reduced and grinded down to nothing. And in spite of that, we're here, you're here. You've got all the rest of your life to do something about it and leave everyone in your dust and not accommodate them and know your worth and know your superiority, but humbleness with that. And it's not a competition, it's we're vulnerable and there's a lot going on and we're potentially in a lot of trouble, and like we're at the bottom of the ninth innings if you use baseball language sort of thing, and all these variables just offer, in spite of all that, enormous potential and opportunity, right? So that's where I am. It's like I just feel very comfortable and satisfied with the dedication I've put in and the courage, and just realizing all the crazy freaking shit and going on and how it can mess with people and how it can influence them to have a perception and all that sort of stuff, and the lack of work, lack of thoroughness, lack of, you know, doing a modality to learn healing and stuff, to be able to be a self-master and all those sort of things. It's just, what are the values that people have in things? And it's just fascinating, right? So I'm just going to get into it because I don't think there's a lot of light, maybe about 10 more minutes or so. And so I'm just going to drop the concepts and not get into them and do a thorough explanation in the future. So I'm just going to show you the image of the spiritual no man's land. So I haven't shown this for a while, but it's basically the journey through a range of senses and dimensions that is like a wild, wild west. It's a spiritual Westworld, right? And we all have, you know, gotten to a point where we have accumulated what we know and we want to seek more, and if we're humble then, and we have lack and we don't know, the unknown is vast sort of thing, then we've sought other people out, right? And there's a point where you have to trust or discern or navigate and acquire information. You have to be willing to trial and error, see if this works and that. Do I follow the crowd or anything like that? But what I've come to is the dimensional levels, and thanks to Ashiana Dean, she was vital in working all this out. She's not perfect in that, but her data helped flip a lot of the setup for failure. We have to really be tough on everything that was presenting themselves up to 2019, 2020, and how much humanity was massively set up for failure. And experience is the key to wisdom. And so for me it was like, I was still like post 2020, like I know so little. What is going on? Why has this all happened? What don't we know? And you know, I was in the trenches at a high level, working with people and supporting a lot. And so after that I was still supporting a lot and offering platform to people and stuff, and thinking we're all on the same side. And the spiritual no man's land was at play. Like, we know the 3D, we might have an awareness, but in the spiritual no man's land there's a lot of violations going on, and most people don't have an awareness of that. But ultimately there is a solution state that's superior to everything, and that is superior to what we worked out was the invaders, right, from other universes and the derivatives of them. You know, they create species or variables or people form alliances for benefit, short-term gains, and this is the long-term consequence time for all of them. And out of all this, I've just been able to formulate it all into my sovereignty declaration, which is now it's the next level of the translation of this, right? So then we'd never known, like, you know, there's the 5D Earth and stuff, and I've worked with the person that actually birthed the 5D Earth, and she wasn't supported and stuff, and we were working for many years to help that, and now I just see that as a setup for failure, because it's like 5D is nothing. It's Asher helped with Source being at 12D, but what we worked out, and I'll just move on to the next image, right? The awareness journey image. So the awareness journey image is just a visual representation of the battleground that we don't know we're going through, right? The energy hygiene, which is part 6 of my intuitive potential healing release ages ago now. But the pranic healing sort of stuff I do is very much clearing all the gunk out, right? To allow us to be our pure, uncorrupted self with all our life force, particularly from the spleen, throughout to discern and pattern recognition and have all our talents kick in and stuff. But it's actually like a quagmire of variables. I'm very discerning on the ET sort of variable. There's aspects of mega souls that are incarnated into human form that are negative variables in the spiritual and alternate community, and they're doing very misguided stuff of starting to have people pop up with all that crap and work. Like, I've just been me all through it, right? I've been pedal to the metal, public, not scared, pushing hard to work all this stuff out in spite of it, and that's where the sovereignty stuff is really big, and everything I've translated into the sovereignty declaration, right? But we have our ups and downs, we have challenges. Working out the code stealing mid-2023 was massive, and what we worked out, the divide light, the negative variables from the dark, we're using light to access, you know, code pools to get beyond 15D sort of stuff, so we've had to sort of shut that down, but it's been incredibly difficult, right? We've been so disadvantaged, yet in spite of that, right, we're here, we've made it to now. Maybe you're still battling and all that sort of stuff, and that's cool. I would like to think that you're here because you trust me and you haven't found any solutions anywhere else. And this all sort of like, you know, if you've gone through my declaration and the extensive other teachings I've offered, it all makes sense, right? And it also offers this, even if you're really smashed, a glimmer of hope that there is more potential in you and there is a pathway to it. And honestly, like, to me, context is the key. And once you have the context, the solutions are very simple and elegant, right? It's not rocket science, but getting that data of what the F is going on has been the massive struggle. And that's where one of my strengths is acquiring data, and I do it trial and error. I'll invest in concepts to experience being in them, even if they're not right or wrong. Like, a lot of people will sit on the sidelines and like, they'll be looking for the wrong and not try, right? Experience is the key to wisdom, right? You don't know what you don't know, and like, for me, it's always been about looking for the gold nuggets in any teacher of anything, right? And you gotta, like, if you've ever done gold panning, you gotta sift through a lot of crap just to find the little specks or nuggets and stuff. And to me, searching for that one variable that unlocks a massive complex algorithm is just so worth it, because I like working hard, and when you invest effort, energy, time, they're all very precious commodities, then the payoff is a truth nugget. It's such I live for it. I hope you do too, and I hope I've helped you like find like massive gold reefs of nuggets, right, with all the truth in my stuff, right, to help accelerate, to ideally get through this crap, right? So I'm going to introduce the essence spectrum, right, because I'm running out of light. So I introduced earlier in the year, or last year I think, the awareness spectrum, right? Or the awareness S-curve, right? There's this thing called the S-curve where if you go and look at something called the technology S-curve, it's about like parabolics. I'll just do an image of it. It goes like this. It go up and then it matures, right? So to me, like my awareness data S-curve has been that journey of the acquisition of all the data to put it into the sovereignty declaration and all my teachings and stuff like that. And I feel it's like where I am now with this essence spectrum, right? It's like I've matured quite a lot. There's going to be variables that I work out, and if you watch the last release about the memory stealing sort of industry going on, it's a big variable that I do go into a lot about the memory wiping and hacking and harvesting and stuff like that, just not at the scale that was there. So maybe that's a component I add in the future, but at the moment it's very mature. And when I do it with people in the very defined structures of my sessions, it's very potent and powerful. And so I just feel it's very quite matured after many, many years, right, of all this searching and stuff. So what I've been able to do is translate it into this essence spectrum sort of stuff that I'm going to show, and I'm only just going to be able to touch on it because I know it's going to get dark, right? So I'll just offer it now. So it might be a bit tough to see, and I've been working on these all day. They took me a long time to do, working out these variables down here. You might not be able to read them, but I've got 18 here, right? And I've got about 60 that I've worked out, right? I've been walking a lot, going to the gym, listening to my tunes and stuff like that, just to try and percolate up all the variables, and I've really got a lot. And but just to work out the best ones, I was going to start with 6, and then I was like, 8, 10, 12, 15, blah blah blah. So I stepped back and just worked out a lot, right? But what this is, right? This is a graph or matrix and stuff. I'm calling the essence spectrum, right? So I've got many variables, right? Energy, consciousness, source, multi-D. If you can see them all. Hopefully my images come out alright. There's a lot of data in these and they're quite big, and if you're on the mobile phone they might not be the best. And like I said, I'm going to do probably another more thorough job on this. But if you see, it's a big square, right? And what the square offers is these boxes, right? And what the graph offers is an opportunity to see each relate to each, right? So down the bottom is the mind. I actually put the mind at the bottom, right? Because it's what is in people's mind is core to everything, right? But if you change your attitude and stuff, you can flip everything as well. So it's foundational, it's core, but it's also one of the most powerful things. Like I said, you get an aha moment, you can flip everything, right? So see that's the mind box there, and that's the energy box up the top. I feel like energy is the foundation to everything, right? And then you got consciousness and all that sort of stuff, multi-D, source and all that, right? Let's say the mind and energy, right? So that box down the bottom is that, if that makes sense. So it's just a visual way to link everything up. So there's two sides. There's that side and that side, right? And all these variables of how they interact, right? So I'm just going to show you an example of this, right? Employing it. So if you see here, I've got influences up this top corner and the output sort of thing at the bottom, right? So if you see the red dots, their relationship to the variables of influence, right? And it depends on the individual, right? So if someone is being influenced by energy and they don't believe in multi-D sort of stuff or healing, then they can be blocked in their body, right? And you know, if they've got belief issues about potential, or they're not into spirituality, they're locked in the 3D and all that sort of stuff, then they can be vulnerable to the multi-D influences going on and stuff like that, right? So you can sort of relate everything. So these are all the components that might be going on to an individual. And this is how they relate. Right? So the essence spectrum offers you a way to interpret all the influences and all that, but then it offers like the solution path as well. So all these are going on, you know, if someone's mind is blocked, then just acquiring more data, right, of society sort of thing, right? You know, like if food is toxic, and or if there's money system sort of stuff, or if people have lack of self-worth or beliefs, right? If they're not looking after their physical, like the body, then they might have perception issues sort of stuff, right? Or if they got trauma or emotional issues and stuff like that. There's just some of the issues, potentials there. But then you can work out a solution sort of thing. If this is going on, then that's the path for that. If that's going on, then that's a potential there sort of thing. So on one side we identify the issues, the other side we can identify the solutions to those issues and have a visual representation of pathways, right? So interesting, hey? I'm just going to show another image. So with all the sovereignty declaration and understanding all the dimensional levels and all the influences and all those sort of things and modalities, practitioners, teachers, societal aspects and all that sort of stuff, the invaders, the corruption of source, the invaders, all the variables related to them and all that sort of stuff, we can form a appreciation of all the things relative to the influences might be going on, the energy hygiene and all that sort of stuff, right? So if I show you another image, right, putting them together, what I feel, the essence spectrum is a way of interpreting all that might be going on in this, the awareness journey in the spiritual no man's land and all that sort of stuff, of all the violators that are limited to operating in that range, because once we break out they can't touch us, right? MC Hammer time, okay? So taking that and putting into the essence spectrum is a way of visually representing all the stuff that's going on, all the limits in people, all the blocks, and offer a solution mechanics of how to progress on, develop and identify your weaknesses and stuff you can choose to employ and all that sort of stuff, and attitudes to take on different things that might flip a vulnerability into a strength sort of thing, right? So I hope that's quite interesting, right? I felt like I wanted to do a bigger one and stuff like that. Maybe this is enough for you and stuff, and it's a good, fascinating thing to interpret. Like I said, I've only put 18 into this. I'll just show you the other one again. Like I offered this one, and this is just an example. You can do it for each individual or each event in your life, and you can reflect on different times and stuff, and where you were and where you are now and stuff, and what you've learned, maybe where your vulnerabilities are. But I feel like my sovereignty declaration is really nailing so much, right? And now that that's very solid, the outside edges of the puzzle are very good, or the essence components, right? Because a lot of what this is translating the bigger subjects and all that sort of stuff, right? And exploring that thoroughly might be an ally to working this out for you, let alone other people as well, right? But I really hope offering this essence spectrum, I hope you feel like it's a very simple, elegant solution mechanics to evolving everything to the next level, to make it a lot more easier, and then you can discern yourself, like just be tough on yourself, right? Identify your weaknesses, work on them a bit like Michael Jordan in The Last Dance, right? And then turn them into your strength, right? And so we can all individually power through everything going on and engage our superiority and all the mechanics that I've worked out and pure source alignment and all that sort of stuff to power through to have an awesome life in spite of everything, and power through to engaging our potential and being an example for everyone else. And who knows where we can individually go and as a collective from there, right? So, not a long one, hopefully a very potent one, coming back to my intuitive potential healing theme that I hope is a very powerful one for you. So let's see where we go, guys. All the best for now. Lots of love. And I'll see you next time. Andre out.
March 2008 and I just arrived in Asia. And when you're from Holland and you travel around Europe and in North America, South America, it's pretty much the same, you know, but when you land in Asia, you feel like you landed in a whole different planet. It's like the people look so different, the food is totally different, you can't read the signs on the streets, you can't understand the people, even when they talk English, they're very hard to understand. And the other way around as well, they can't understand me either. And it's just such a mysterious place, and so special to be there. And yeah, it's just really exciting.
Welcome to Asia. How do you feel kickstarting your Elements of Life Asian tour in Hong Kong?
I'm really excited about it, you know. Tonight's going to be the first gig and it's outdoor. arrived actually in Hong Kong 2 days ago. I slept for 22 hours straight, and I took some massages. You know, we went for dinners. Really had a relaxing time. Octopus on a stick. Thailand. What's my favorite track? Hard to say. It's like you have 7 children, they say, what's your favorite child? I don't know. Enough. It's a very amazing life I have, you know. You travel around the world, you meet great people, you stay in the best hotels, you eat in the best restaurants, and yeah, you play at the best parties. There's nothing bad about it. Then we had some fun with the crowd, you know. I was throwing t-shirts at them, throwing glow sticks back for a change, because a lot of people throw glow sticks on the stage all the time when they have them. And this time it was revenge time for me. It was payback time. So I took all the glow sticks I could find and started pouring them on the crowd. It was always fun. I think the words of wisdom I could say is like, you know, if you really want to achieve something and you really want it, you can always achieve it. It's just a matter of give yourself 100%. Wonderful. And that's with a lot of DJs, that's what you see. They have a lack of full dedication. They're all 70%, 80%, but if you go for it 24 hours a day, then you can get whatever you want.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks very much for the interview. I really appreciate your time.
Hi, I'm Tiesto, and you're watching hkclubbing.com. Thank you, sir. Beijing was one of those cities, as a kid, you always dreamt of to go to, and you would never thought you could go because of the communism and the closed borders they used to have. And when I came there the first time, when I went and I was on the big square, the famous square, and it was so impressive to see like all the history there and all the people there. Congratulations, starts right away.
5个人。车长。我真
My teacher, Kesta.
Sorry. I gotta get in with him. 把车挡住，来，谁也没上车，把车挡住。
In December, heading for the city lights. 975, we sharing each other, nearer than farther. Scent of lemon drips from your eyes. We are the people that rule the world. What's running in every boy and girl? All rejoicing in the world. Take me now. We can try. We live in adventure.
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.